All right, here we are. We're back. It's we're doing it right now. We're doing the Reverend Rob, and we've got Tony Hicks and Justin Giorgi. I'll get that right sometime.
I'm going to teach you how to say my name.
I'm going to get there. I know. I want to call you Giorgio or something really strange, like Italian thingy that works for me. But anyway, I don't know.
Drop the L, man.
Well, you're just going to be Justin now because we've introduced you like 16 times. All right. So anyway, today we're going to talk to these two guys. So like we talked before, so Tony Hicks, writer for major market newspapers for many, many years, professional journalist. Justin, we can't talk about where he works because this is not endorsed by anybody or what they work, but Justin, guy with lots of opinions that grew up on a farm. Like, we'll have a bull story eventually, a dog biting a bull's balls, great story.
You're giving away the punchline, you bastard.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll edit that part, but it's a good story about the dog and the bull. It's either going to be a kid story or we don't know yet, but I think
almost as good of a story as some guy I know who tried to build an airplane and take off in front of his house.
We'll talk about that one. Maybe it's another decent story. That was not me, maybe. But it wasn't an airplane, it was an ultralight, just to be clear for the viewers. Okay? The 8 viewers that are going to watch this. So actually one of the things I wanted to just talk about today I thought was kind of interesting is we all come from professional backgrounds and environments where we spent time learning a craft. Like, so for me it was music, for Tony it was music and journalism, and this guy just got these opinions about all kinds of shit, and he's done everything from writing this and that. But what was interesting, and he comes from an environment where like privacy, quality, and all that matters a great deal. And it was interesting to see, I hear all these people all the time are writing us letters, talking to us and saying that, you know, the gatekeeper being gone is a great thing. So doing away with record companies, now anybody can, you know, put their music online and it opens up all this creativity. But what you realize is it really degrades the quality, because now people that have no, you know, no ability, no skill, they don't try, they don't put any effort into it, they get themselves an Apple, a little garage band, drop a bunch of loops, next thing you know they're uploading to iTunes, and they muddy the water. And so now anybody trying to discover, and if you spend a lot of time in your life and trying to be good at something, it's hard to wade through all that. People don't have the time to discover because most of what you're hearing is just garbage and people haven't any energy to. So oddly enough, coming from an artist's point of view, I wanted to hear from you. What do you think about that notion that, like, say, so, you know, I kind of miss the gatekeeper. And I think that, like you said something very astute earlier as a lead-in for you, is that, you know, maybe not everybody does deserve a voice about everything anymore, right? I mean, you know, the modern media gives people with no really knowledge or background, they can just put something out there and they say it the right way and it's inflammatory and now it's news.
I don't know if it's about whether or not they deserve a voice, but I think it's more about whether they deserve to be taken seriously. And from where I'm coming from, I'm still paying thousands of dollars for going to journalism school. And, you know, where I took history of journalism, I took journalism law, took all these classes, I took it very seriously, and I learned my craft. And now the way things are, you don't have to be a so-called expert anymore. You don't have to have any learning. All you have to do is be able to buy a computer, and therefore you can be a journalist. And you know, it's like I was telling you earlier, when I write something now, I used to look at the comments, and I would look at the comments and 75 people would say something, and I'd spend 4 hours having an argument with 75 people over why they're wrong and I'm right.
Right.
I don't do that anymore because it's mental masturbation. But it is, and in music especially, it's interesting how you were talking about GarageBand and how anybody can just, you know, within a couple of days figure out how to record something, how to make their own music, which is wonderful for them if they're just going to go through the creative process and have it for themselves, or, you know, sing Jingle Bells for their family and give it to them for Christmas. But there are people who take it very seriously and who are calling themselves musicians and are trying to market this stuff, and if people like it, fine. But it does sort of degrade the whole process of learning how to do something properly.
Right, and 1 in a million that does it that way maybe does have a decent song and they were natural born artists.
1 in a million.
1 in a million. My problem is those other, you know, 999,000 people don't have shit to say, don't have any talent, and it muddies the water. So yeah, so every once in a while you hear in the news, oh, this guy had no talent, he went to GarageBand, blah, 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 now he's an instant overnight success. I think they call her Beyonce, but, you know, one of those kind of weird things. Maybe her attire, I'm not sure that hurt either, but, you know, that kind of being just the point of, I think they muddy the water. There are those, you know, people that just get it, right? Right? Like, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and going back to your, you know, 75 comments on a post.
Yeah.
There might be 2 or 3 of those that have an interesting perspective, who aren't trying to argue with you, or maybe, you know, they do have a, you know, a counter argument, but they've at least thought it through. They have an interesting piece of information. But the other 72, you know, of the maybe 50 that are intelligible, it's people with their own facts, you know, that aren't really, you know, contributing to the conversation. They're just being inflammatory, or they're trying to have an opinion about something without the information forming it.
And facts aren't facts anymore. Facts are almost subjective.
Facts are subjective. Facts are opinion. You don't get to make up your own facts. You can provide.
You shouldn't be able to. Yeah, but
you can add a fact to a conversation. If you write an article with you know, this handful of facts makes me draw these conclusions, someone else can say, well, here's a few facts from a study, from a different study, from, you know, experience or whatever, that might counter it. But you can't say, no, that's wrong, unless you can actually prove it. So you can't say, you know, the sky is orange if it's actually blue. Sometimes it is orange, sometimes it's blue. We don't have to argue back and forth about it and discuss both sides of the problem. Someone needs to go outside and look up. Right. Somebody's right and somebody's wrong, and that's the end of the discussion. And then we can talk about why, and we can talk about what this means to those opinions.
And worse is the people that just go on and, you know, so you'll report some fact, if you will, or in your case report some fact, and then they just want to be inflammatory. They just want to go out and they want to say, you know, some sort of derogatory statement, all looking for a quick little fix of fame. And for some unknown reason, being able to communicate in an alternative version of language has become really popular, right? And, you know, you don't have to speak clear English anymore. You just can say something inflammatory and all of a sudden you're a badass, for whatever the hell reason that is. I have no idea.
And it used to be that facts and opinion were two separate things. We discussed the facts, and then we could draw our opinions from it. You know, it used to be there was a guy that came out on the evening news, and he read what happened today, and then he said, you're dying. Where did that go?
Yeah. We miss Walter Cronkite, is what you just said.
Well, and part of it too is the whole anonymity thing of the internet. The fact that you don't have to put your name on something. You don't have to be held accountable for what you're presenting as facts. Yeah. You don't have to attribute. In journalism school, you learn that if you're going to say something, you need to attribute it to a certain 2-3 experts. People who have been schooled, have been learned, who supposedly know something. In other words, facts. They know what they're talking about.
Expert witness, if you will.
Thank you.
And then if I'm reading an article and I see that attribution, I can judge opinion from fact. And I can judge expert opinion from uninformed opinion. If your source is you know, a stay-at-home mom talking about vaccination from things that she read on the internet, I can discount this opinion entirely. If your source is you know, doctors working at the CDC and doctors working for you know, research labs, I can respect their opinion. It's still opinion until I see data about it. But I can respect this opinion and actually draw something from it.
Yeah. So as we close, I think I just watched an interview with former President Barack Obama. And he said, actually, everything you need to learn about, one, the United States government and about negotiation with other people, you learn in Dr. Seuss. And I thought that he would come on the evening news and actually say that. I thought that was insightful. So our message for today is, as we draw this to close, go read Dr. Seuss and the world will be fixed. Bye.